Go here. Go closer. What should we talk about first? About raw meat. You just ate some like store-bought pork. Did you eat that today or yesterday?
I ate that yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. So as far as I know, that's just like it doesn't say it's pasture raised. It's just some normal.
Oh, it was just some normal pork.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
the most
yeah.
normal pork you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would you think eating that kind of? I mean, like, for a person who eats things like raw eggs and meat, they'll probably want to go for things that are of higher quality. But apparently, maybe that for you is like not that big of a deal. Yeah, I would like to know like what you think about maybe the quality of food.
Yeah.
Like if you want to choose to eat something raw, how much does quality matter?
Yeah. Well, from my experience, I'm sure the quality does play a part. However, I like to go off my own experience, and I've eaten raw ground beef that's totally regular, grain finished beef from a regular factory, factory farmed, and I've eaten that for many, many, many days in a row, and no problems whatsoever. I will say, raw pork at first was challenging for me to conceptualize, but the more I've gotten into, eating raw cuts of meat and just cooking my food less and less and less, the less afraid I get. And honestly, it was you who challenged me to eat raw pork for the first time back in Seattle, I think, and I did, and I was totally good. So with every single time that I eat a raw meat, whether it be beef, pork, or even the other day for the first time for me, chicken, every time I do that and I'm fine afterwards, it's more so just proof that I can not only survive these experiences, but actually feel totally good and totally fine with them. I don't have any, sickness, no brain fog, no stomach aches. I feel great actually, and digestion's really, really good.
Nice.
And yeah, same thing with raw eggs too. Doesn't matter if they're pasture raised or just regular.
So you have also tried like eating normal eggs raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah.
Let's slung these two now.
Okay. Hopefully I'm better.
Hopefully.
Let's go. What an absolutely scrumptious dinner there.
Scrumptious. That's a new word.
Oh, really?
So like, when would you say was the first time you ate raw pork?
Oh yeah, it was
So it's like after Seattle.
Yeah, it was probably a couple months ago.
So for reference, Seattle is like in April.
Yeah, so Seattle was in April. It had to have been the weekend of the 12th to the 15th. I tried raw pork for the first time, maybe the 16th to 17th. After that, and
Was it like after I went back to Taiwan? Because like you didn't eat raw pork with me when I was filming the video.
It must have been after. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So it's like in the beginning it was like.
Yeah. At first I wasn't sure. And I ended up doing it pretty soon after that, I think.
So like at the time you were already eating raw beef as a part of your daily life.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do you think for you raw pork was like scary? Or like was it just because it's like a different food, or you had some stigma against raw pork?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's because in my mind beef is like the safest. Like for me, beef is like totally safe. Like that's what I believe. The high majority of humans are going to be able to do really well on. And for me, beef is always like, all right, no matter what it is, I'll be good. I didn't have that much experience eating pork. I honestly barely ate pork since I really only started eating pork consistently like recently, in the past month. So back then I wasn't eating pork consistently at all. I barely ever had it pretty much whatsoever in the past 6, 7, 8 months. And so for me to go from not eating pork at all to eating it raw was like, okay, like I don't know if this pork is as safe as cows. They only have one stomach. Cows are multiple stomachs to process everything. I don't know. I don't really feel safe doing that. But all it took was just one try and one experience for me to be like, all right, that's totally fine. Yeah.
Just like being fine off of trying it one time gave you the courage.
Pretty much.
But like that's pretty. My experience was pretty much the same. I guess like pretty similar. Like maybe like I watched some videos of people eating raw meat and eggs, and apparently they didn't suffer or what. They were like on the interview, so they didn't die, and that's like a nice proof, right?
Yeah.
But before I actually try to eat those like unconventional raw meat. So when I say that I'm talking about things that are not sashimi, things that are like just store bought and things you would normally cook. Like it wasn't until like I actually try it and be fine that I was actually like convinced that it's like actually can be safe, I guess. Like if you just like hear information, even if it's just like, oh, I was just like eating raw pork right beside you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe you would still feel like, oh, I'm not sure. But you need to like try that for yourself.
Yeah, and I also think, I mean, the deeper you go down this rabbit hole, the more you feel like, I mean, it's like carnivore. It's like, oh my gosh, the person only eats meat. It's crazy. They prioritize meat in their diet. That's insane too. Whoa, like eating raw meat. That shit's absolutely insane. And then there are people who let their meat legitimately mold, and then they eat it, and then they're also fine. So for me, it's like the deeper you get into this, the more I feel like raw meat eating is less and less crazy, because people are doing way crazier stuff, like actually letting their meat like legitimately go bad, or maybe it's not even bad. I don't know, because like maybe it's moldy, but they're totally fine off of it. So who am I to say it's bad, But obviously it's in a objectively like more like dirty state than just raw meat out of the package. If it's actually like moldy and stuff, people eat that and they're fine. So
can you say a little bit about the person you're talking about? Like, how did you know that a person was doing this?
Oh, just videos online. I don't know. There's not just like one person I know, but there's just definitely people who do that. It's called like high meat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they like wait for it to. They let it intentionally leave it out of the fridge in like high heat for many days in a row.
Yeah,
it goes a little bit moldy. Smells.
So did you see
bad.
the meat itself? I didn't know that high meat was like moldy.
Oh yeah, I mean it just.
I just knew that you put it outside for a while.
Yeah, I mean it smells bad. You leave it outside. It's obviously fully brown.
Oh.
Like, it grays. I mean, it's fully gray, and you eat it, and apparently you feel high off it. I've never done
that's
that before.
like what I heard.
I've never done that before, and I don't honestly plan on doing that. But anything's possible. I mean, at this point, I never thought I'd be eating raw chicken, raw beef, or raw pork, and I've done all three, and I honestly do it pretty consistently.
So like you have eaten low quality chicken and pork and beef raw.
Yes.
Okay.
Raw chicken, like the most regular chicken ever from a Japanese grocery store.
Okay. Why would you even want to eat chicken raw? Because like, what was like?
I guess I'm just impatient. Well, my roommate did a challenge in the past year of him eating raw chicken every single day on Instagram. So that was the first time I really saw someone doing that consistently. And
I know who it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the first time I saw that. And then last weekend, I bought chicken, and I really like chicken, but I don't buy it like that often. I think I'll start buying it more, but I'm a person who doesn't really cook my food in general. So for me to actually stand over the stove and wait for my food to get like fully cooked, like for chicken, for example, it takes a lot of patience for me, since I'm so used to just searing my beef and just eating it, pretty much raw on the inside. But but yeah, I just tried that for chicken too. I was looking.
So it's like the chicken was halfway cooked.
Yeah, basically.
It's not like fully raw.
Definitely.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely not. If it wasn't fully cooked. But then I was eating it. I was eating it like that, and I was like, well, I'll just try a raw piece.
Oh.
So then after that, I was like, well, there's almost no difference between this and eating it raw because the inside was completely raw
totally.
the chicken. So I was like, there's almost no difference. So I'm just gonna do it.
Like if you are not afraid to eat the half raw one, you should be able to be okay with eating the full raw.
Exactly. So I just decided to eat it, and it tasted like nothing, and it was fine. But that was the first time I actually did something like that for chicken. And yeah.
Did you say it was like a few days ago?
Yeah, it was like a week ago.
A week ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Anita, can you help me check if the video is still recording and if we are like in frame? Everything good?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, I see. When did you? So your first, you growing up, you obviously probably ate things like sashimi, right?
Yeah.
You definitely did that because
Yeah.
like you went to Japan and things like that. Is that like a common dish in the U.S.? Like raw meat dishes, because like, yeah, sashimi. I would say, in my imagination, it would be common.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is common. I mean, you can get
common.
sushi anywhere.
You can
get
get
sushi anywhere, and like, it's so funny because I mean, I don't know why raw fish is. I mean, raw fish definitely freaks some people out. Like some people are like, oh yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste. I don't really.
Oh.
I've never had it before. Honestly, I didn't even have. I never had sushi until I was 17
Oh really?
or 18. Yeah.
Okay.
Like literally, my first time having sushi was probably my second time in Japan.
Okay. Okay. What was that?
It was 2017.
I mean, why? Why was
why?
that? Yeah.
My friends, like the Konami players I was with, they were talking about going to get sushi, and I remember
I mean, like, why did you only have sushi when you were 17?
Oh, I was a really picky eater growing up, and I just never
think about
it.
My
parents never brought me to sushi, and I never really thought about eating it. Yeah. Yeah, that was it pretty much.
Okay.
I like junk food.
No. Okay. So, I guess, growing up, sushi for you was like, although you didn't eat it, pretty much at all, but like it was probably normal for you, right? Because like other people were eating that. You wouldn't feel like, oh, I'll die or something from eating sushi.
No, definitely not.
When was the first time you ate something that would give you like a feeling of, oh, I might be in danger? It's kind of like, for example, when you first, before you first trying to eat raw pork, you would feel like a little bit not sure, right?
Yeah.
What was the first kind of raw food that gave you this feeling?
It's funny because I think the first time I felt this feeling was when I just started cooking my own food. I bought a tuna steak.
Tuna steak.
That's
tuna or steak?
It's just tuna.
Tuna. Okay.
It's just called steak because of like how it's cut.
Okay.
I think. But it's literally just a thing of tuna. And I cooked it on the stove, and it was still like a little bit. It wasn't cooked all the way through. And I remember looking at it. I remember like kind of being like, "Oh my gosh, I can't eat that." I had already had sushi at this point, like raw fish. Okay. But for some reason, I had this tuna steak like a couple years, afterwards, and I legit was like, I started asking. I like remember texting my mom like, "Is this okay to eat?" And I remember asking my roommate like, "Is this okay to eat?"
Okay.
Like, yeah, you should probably cook that more.
When was it again?
This was probably 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I remember that was like, oh my gosh, I probably shouldn't eat this. Which I felt way more concerned around that versus the first time I actually ate raw beef, which is probably almost a year ago now. And that was the first time I ate raw beef, and it definitely felt a little weird, but I didn't feel that much concern about it. So
why? Because that's like not something that, because like cooking is normal. That's like what everyone does, and like people don't eat beef raw, especially like you were probably talking about like store bought meat, right? Yeah. So to eat that raw, I would say for a normal modern person that would be like very scary. Yeah.
Well,
so
the reason I was doing it is because I was with people who all had done it before. And they were totally fine with it. And I just knew off their experience that it was safe.
Oh, cool. So, because like they're just in front of you.
Yeah, they're in front of me. Like they were just so I decided to do it, and it was fine. And
very interesting.
Yeah, I continue to do it ever since then.
I feel like if that's like your reason, then people shouldn't really like be afraid of, I guess, raw meat, because like there are so many people that are sharing online. That there are also people who are like actually living. They are just not like actually physically around, but they're still on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like, interesting. So without like the people around you, would you think like you would have some fear?
Definitely.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And where do you think the fear comes from?
Just the norm.
The norm.
The norm of it being like, cook your food. If it's too rare, you're gonna get sick.
But so what about like things like bacteria and parasites? Did you have some ideas about these things? I guess just growing up.
Yeah, I mean,
because like
almost
it's one thing to just know, to think that, oh, they are fine, so I should probably also be fine. But like another thing is like you're going to think, oh, I'll get parasites. It has bacteria. So you are also still going to feel like scared.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because that fear. I guess the norm is like you get taught when you're young that you can't leave beef outside for more than like 2 hours.
So you were taught that before.
You can't. Yeah, and I remember like looking it up when I was 20 years old, and I was like, oh my god! I literally threw away beef that I left out. I left it out overnight, which looking back, it probably was totally fine. Yeah. Looking back, I like wasted like my money on that one. You know.
Nice.
And
interesting.
yeah, it's just they teach you these rules growing up. Is like, all right, well, certain foods like have this temperature that they can't be in for a long time, or else they'll go bad.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, I'm eating eggs that have been outside of the fridge for like over a day, like 2 days. These literally have never been refrigerated before. So, so and we're eating them. We just ate them raw. So I definitely think my mindset has come a long way. And it's just of course like without people to watch and people to reference, I would never be outside of the original mindset. You know, I would never be outside of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you like explain to people if people say that, oh, you are going to get like, I don't know, there are bacteria, there are parasites. Do you like dig into the mechanism behind that, or you just think, oh, I don't need to worry because like obviously people are fine?
That's what I think. Yeah, I feel like I'm diving into this stuff. I'm not looking into it too hard.
Do you have anything to say about this topic?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people look into stuff a ton and don't take any action and see it for themselves. And you know, the saying paralysis analysis, paralysis by analysis. Sorry, I think I said that backwards. I think analysis paralysis is. You know what I mean by that?
Not exactly. I heard of that. But...
Okay, well, it means you look into something so much, analyzing stuff. It's like you're looking into stuff so much that you never make a decision. You're paralyzed. Like you can't move. So by too much analyzation, you paralyze yourself.
Okay.
Analysis,
it's like
analysis paralysis.
You are afraid to take actions.
Yeah, like you just overwhelm yourself, and it's like, oh my god, what should I do? What should I do? You know, it's not like the path is going to be clear all the time, but just taking it, you're going to find out if it's good for you or not, or you know, you're going to find out if something's going to work out for something or not by actually doing it. You know, you can't. I think the best decisions in life, if you could calculate it all the way beforehand, it wouldn't be that much of a decision. You know, fastest way to learn is by experience, and actually doing this stuff opened my eyes to it way faster than if I didn't. And if I never actually tried this stuff, my eyes would never be open to it. I just would stay in my regular mindset of food, and I would never like evolve.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what do you think about bacteria and parasites? Do you think like?
I don't even think about it.
Let me change my question. Do you think they exist? Like, do you think they are like things that you can't see on the, let's say, the store-bought raw pork you're eating?
I mean, I definitely think
you just don't care. Like,
I definitely think
you just need to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna pretend like bacteria doesn't exist because it does, but I mean, I think our body can deal with it.
Oh,
and I don't.
That's your
I don't think. I just know because I've eaten raw meat a million times.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. So let me give you a hypothetical question. So like I post videos of me eating raw food online, and sometimes people just say, "Go to eat a raw snail." Yeah. What do you think about this? So like if you search up online, some people have gotten like very sick, supposedly or like allegedly, off of like eating things like that. I don't know. I don't know if you have. Yeah. I think like a slug. Like there's like a person from Australia or something. He was like pretty athletic, and according to the news article, he was like, what was he doing? Maybe it was like he was like having fun with his friend, and it was a dare. So he ate like a slug raw, and then apparently later he became like hospitalized, and then I don't know, but like his life didn't end up well. Yeah. So what do you think about this story?
I mean,
because like that's like what people are scared about. Like, yeah, obviously you're fine out here eating raw pork, but if you search out online, you can see, oh, this person, he ate raw pork and he was filled with parasites, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can find the same story.
Yeah, like what I was talking about was like you can actually find that online, at least in Chinese.
For pork.
Yeah, for pork it's like, oh, this person ate raw pork and he's like filled with parasites.
Yeah.
Or like just something like that. Like if you search up raw pork, you'll see, oh, you can't eat that because it has parasites.
Yeah. I guess my whole thoughts. I'll answer that question first. Like that. I totally. I mean, just because in my experience I've never gotten sick before doesn't mean I don't think it can't happen. I take that risk every single time.
Okay, you think you're taking a risk?
I'm taking I feel like I'm taking a calculated risk. Like, I'm not going to say it's impossible for me not to get sick.
Okay.
I think it's possible for
You think it's possible?
Especially with, I mean, for me in my mind, I think like having raw pork is going to give me a higher chance of getting sick. In my mind, raw beef is like definitely not impossible to not get sick off of, but I mean, I've legitimately eaten raw ground beef like over 1,000 times, you know. So it's but for me it's like I take that risk, you know. And yeah, for most people, like if I were to recommend someone eating raw, I mean, yeah, go for it. Like find a higher quality source of meat for your first time. Definitely do that. Take some precaution, but then give it a shot, and you'll see that you're totally fine from it. And if you want to eat a lower quality meat, go for it. It's up to you. I'm just saying that I've felt fine off both. So I don't think it's impossible not to get sick, but I just haven't yet, you know. So I believe people when they say I've gotten sick off raw pork. You know, I believe those stories. I mean, like for sure. I mean, that's definitely happened before. You know, for like raw snails. I don't know why anybody would eat a raw snail. It's just not appetizing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What are we doing?
Even if it's like completely germ free.
Yeah, like I don't want to eat a snail.
Yeah,
you know, I don't think that's like a.
Just like culturally not accepted.
Yeah, I just don't think like I can't really
consider that to be a food.
I can't see humans just back in the day eating snails.
You can't see that?
Not really.
I honestly I think that was like their main food. You know,
snails.
Because like you just grab it and eat. It's like they can run away from. But the thing
they can't
is,
run away.
In
but
this day and age,
toxic.
Well, why would you say that?
I mean, if they can't,
toxic.
if they can't run,
they're
probably
way
have like a way to defend themselves. Which maybe they're hiding in their shell, but I mean, obviously, if they're but that won't do anything. You know?
Okay.
So.
I see.
I don't know though for sure. I haven't looked into that at all or anything. But I'm assuming.
So like in your opinion, what would make like apparently you're fine, but let's say someone has actually gotten sick off of eating raw pork, like what made that happen, in your opinion? Like why are you fine and why that person got sick?
It was probably because of It's a great question. I mean, and it was probably just because of how the pork was transported, or maybe it was just bad, like really bad practice. Maybe some, I don't know, like poop got into the meat or something. Genuinely, I'm not really sure. And if a person has a bad experience with raw meat and doesn't want to go back to raw meat again, I totally understand. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, if I actually got sick off of raw meat, I probably wouldn't eat. I'd be way less inclined to eat the same raw meat again. Like for example, if I got sick off of raw pork, I probably wouldn't want to eat raw pork again.
For sure.
But I've never. It's probably just with the farming practices, or they get like the only thing I can think of is like you get something completely disgusting in the meat and it sits there. It's not. It's definitely easily just like not for consumption. Like I'm not trying to eat an animal poop, you know. And if it gets mixed in or something like that, then that's obviously not going to do your body any good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, but then there are some people literally eating like cat poop. Have you seen that?
Probably.
People will literally eat cat poop.
Let me give you some alternate. Let me give you my thoughts on this subject. Like things like people have gotten parasites from supposedly from raw meat. Yeah, because like I think it's hard to say what caused them to have parasites. They just because like the society has a stigma on raw meat. So for example, if a person has parasites and the doctor asks the person, what did you eat? And he said, oh, I ate raw meat, I ate junk food, I ate blah blah blah. And the doctor is going to be like, oh, it's the raw meat. Something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe like raw meat doesn't cause parasites. Like how they are caused is like you can't really know, I guess. Yeah. So that's like one thing that I think about this topic. Another thing is that okay, this person has parasites in their body, but how healthy are they? Yeah. Because like, oh, maybe I have a lot of parasites in my body, but I'm still being here. Yeah. So that's like maybe having parasites sounds scary, but is it actually scary? And like, is it actually caused by raw meat? I think that's like a topic that's like rarely discussed. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's an interesting topic, and I definitely it makes me pretty interested to learn more about it. I wish I could speak to it more, like more like scientifically, but I just can't because I don't know anything about it.
Okay,
so, that is a good topic though, and like maybe what you're saying is, like yes, like people may eat like a ton of junk food, drink soda, whatever, and then also eat raw meat, and then they get really sick afterwards. You know, like, oh my gosh, it's the raw meat.
Yeah,
you can't eat that raw meat. That meat's bad for you. But I think what you're saying is like the better like foundation you have with the way your overall diet is. When you do have these things, it sets you up for way better like success.
I guess there are just like too many variables, but we like humans like to pretend that they're smart and just like, oh, this is because of this is because of that. Yeah. So would you say you are going to still like keep incorporating raw meat in your life?
Yes.
Tell us the benefits of raw meat. Do you, wait, let me ask more specific questions. Do you like the taste of raw meat?
I like the taste of raw meat with salt.
With salt? That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Without salt,
it doesn't taste like that much. Here. It depends on like the fattiness. So if I'm eating raw steak, if I'm eating raw ground beef and it's like 80-20, yeah, I don't think it tastes that much. But with salt on it tastes amazing. Like that salt and you get the fat, it's really good. But if I'm eating raw steak and like you can eat the fat off of it, I think that tastes good. Especially, and then when you put salt on that, it tastes insane. I really like salt on. I really like salt in general.
Okay, so it sounds like interesting because I personally don't eat salt.
Yeah, I think it makes stuff taste way better.
Do you like to eat just salt alone?
I will. Yeah, I don't do it. I won't sit there and like continue to eat salt, but I'll put a shaker in my hand, like shake it and
eat some from time to
time. My hand, yeah.
Okay. So to you, what's the meaning of cooking? Because it sounds like you really enjoy eating raw food, and this is pretty convenient. Yeah,
I think the main benefit to raw meat. People say like, "What's the benefit? What's the benefit?" And for me, it's literally just convenience. It's the quickest way to eat. You know, it's like
so would you say like
eating raw eggs? I can eat probably 6 raw eggs in the time it takes a person to cook like 3 of them.
Yeah, totally.
Or less. Or I can eat 6 raw eggs in less time than a person takes.
They haven't even finished cracking their eggs or something.
Yeah.
Would you say you think cooked food is like more delicious?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, so although you were, because like judging from the way you talk about salt with like raw meat, you rated it very high, right?
Yeah.
But you would still think cooked food is like more
I
tasty?
think cooked food is definitely more tasty. I mean, like for eggs, for example, raw eggs don't taste like anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But cooked eggs
It has some
you can
taste.
definitely taste, and I put salt on that, and it's good. If I put salt on a raw egg, it's not going to taste like anything.
Okay.
But for example, I mean, I've had definitely delicious raw foods, raw meat, and I really like raw meat when it's actually in like its own like beef fat. If I put beef fat on raw meat and put salt on it, it tastes insane. Like it tastes
you mean
incredible.
like cooked beef fat?
Yeah. So if I cook beef, like let's just say I make a burger patty, and I cook it in its fat, and I'm done with that, and there's still leftover fat in the pan. If you just pour that on a plate and you eat raw meat with it and dip it in it, it tastes so good. It tastes so good. Yeah. So I really like that. But overall, if I had to pick one, I mean, I'm cook like for taste. I mean, yeah, cooking definitely tastes better, but I say cooking very lightly because I generally barely cook my food. I generally just sear it, and I'll cook it. And the last time I actually cooked a steak, that's past rare. I legitimately can't remember it. Like the last time.
Usually so you're mostly pretty much just eating like pretty raw food.
I'm eating really raw food. Yeah. Yeah. But I just like to sear it on the outside because I think it has a nice taste to it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
But don't get me started on raw steak. Fatty raw steak with honey.
Oh.
That's super good.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite. With butter on it.
So when it comes to sourcing, you don't really give a shit. Like you are fine with eating just like store-bought food.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me personally, I still can't really like get past that barrier. I feel like. I guess it depends on the meat. So like, I haven't tried store-bought raw pork before. Yeah. So honestly, if you want me to try some store-bought raw pork now, I'll feel a little bit scared. I mean like, I tried.
I just did.
I mean it depends on like how they frame it. Because like if I buy a store-bought pork and I can tell that they care about the pork's life, then I'm fine. So when I say store-bought, I'm kind of meaning like lower quality.
Totally.
Yeah. But if they are like selling good quality.
Yeah, maybe like the pig's living conditions are really bad, and they're like, and that's.
It's just like a barrier. Like for example, when I want to buy eggs, I always go for pasture raised.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want me to eat like conventional eggs raw, I also feel like I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. Yeah, because like I heard that if you are going for high quality animal foods, they are coming from healthy animal, right? So they have less toxins. Yeah, so basically some people's theories are that people get sick not from parasites and bacteria, they get sick from toxins. Yeah, so if you are always going for high quality food, they are from healthy animals. They are not toxic. Yeah, but if you are buying foods from like conventional animals, maybe they are injected with some stuff and they are eating like shit, they're living like shit, so they are more toxic. So some people who eat that will like get sick. But if you cook your food, I heard a saying, it's like you can neutralize the toxins. So it's like, I know some people are going to be like, oh, if the food is high quality, I'm fine with eating that raw. But if it's like low quality, I might want to cook it.
Yeah. I also think.
What do you think?
Well.
But like apparently, I think you have more like evidence.
Yeah.
Like you can say all you want, but you are just fine eating like low quality food.
Yeah. So here, I'll say this. I do think, in a world, in like my perfect world of eating, I would always be eating the highest quality.
For sure.
100%. I just don't deem it. I don't think it financially makes sense for me at my point in my life right now to always prioritize like I need to get grass fed this, pasture raised that, like all the highest quality stuff, because I don't want to let perfect be the enemy of good. Here's perfect, like grass fed, grass finished beef, pasture raised pork, pasture egg eggs, which I actually usually get pasture egg eggs anyways. Like I always I prefer higher quality eggs. Yeah. All this stuff, I don't want to let that get in the way of me eating, you know, the lower tiers of those foods, you know? Because I think maybe some people think, like, oh, I would love to eat all those things, but they're so expensive. I'm just going to continue to eat bland chicken breast and vegetables and, you know, like, whatever. Like, you know, I'd love to eat what you guys eat, or what you eat. It's so expensive.
Okay.
It's actually not that expensive if you just get the regular versions, which are still really healthy for somebody. You know? Okay. In my experience for myself, I can't really tell a difference when I'm just eating grass-fed beef versus grain-fed beef. I honestly can't tell a difference now. I feel. I generally can't. Like, I feel literally the same.
Okay.
Do I want to support those farming practices, like the pasture-raised pork, grass-fed, grass-finished beef? Like, yes, I do, 100%. But at the end of the day, for me, I do know you know, with my dollar that I voted for, these grain-fed, grain-finished, you know, these lower quality pork. You know, and now we're not even getting to the nutritional side. Now we're getting to like the political side of it. I know, I'm aware that this happens, and I know it's like I definitely don't. I'm not like happy that these animals are being treated this way. But at the end of the day, it's like I have to pick what's going to work best for me and what's going to be best for my health and you know, my friends and family. You know, like and how I want to show up for them. And if I know that I feel good off these foods, like if I feel the best, I'm just going to keep eating. I'm not going to sacrifice how I feel. So, you know, you know, for other things to happen, I want to prioritize myself so I can show up and be my best self for myself and also for my friends and family. And I think that's a reason why I don't really mind buying these lower quality foods as well, because I know they feel really good. I don't notice a huge difference between, you know, the grass-fed or the top tier versions, and I just going to continue doing that until I deem it financially sensible for myself to actually just prioritize these up here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The thing is, like, when it comes to lower quality food, like I said, people would think it's a better idea to cook it. Yeah. So. Answer your question.
So
what I'm trying to say is, like, I guess you feel like it doesn't really matter. Would you say that's true? Like, if someone wants to try to experiment with like eating raw food,
I mean, I recommend them just for their sense of peace.
Oh,
for the first time,
totally.
Like, do a higher quality source, like 100%. Do that because.
But like, yeah.
I think I've had this discussion with my roommates before too. My roommates are definitely avid raw meat eaters. We all eat raw meat.
Avid is like what?
It's like really frequent. Like enthusiasts. Like I'm an avid Konami player. Like I play Konami a lot.
Okay.
Like we're all avid raw meat eaters. Like our house is no problem eating raw meat. So, but I've had this conversation with them before. It's like I honestly genuinely think that we were discussing the chances of you getting sick or feeling sick has a lot to do with like your what you think into it.
Placebo.
Placebo, exactly. You can, you know, if you think you're really gonna get sick, you're really convinced you're gonna get sick, and you're probably gonna convince yourself that you feel sick. You know, so whatever you need to do to ease your peace of mind, like okay, I'm trying raw food for the first time. Yeah, get a high quality source. Make sure it's a source you trust, and if you do that, you generally have like, you're gonna be you have no excuse. I mean, you're gonna feel great. You're gonna feel great. In my opinion.
Also, you need to know that people have done it.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, look up people, you know, and you know, whether it be like Leo eats raw food like every day on his Instagram, so he's proving that it's possible every single day. You can find stories of other people doing it as well. I'm not gonna say that. I don't think you're gonna find a lot of people saying they prefer it, like they prefer it over cooked foods. I mean, I barely see that. Like, it's like, yeah, I just eat raw because I actually like it better than cooked. I barely have seen people say that. I mean, honestly, it's hard to believe, honestly, but I mean, I get where people are coming from. But it's possible. People are doing it all the time, every single day. Do whatever you need to do to ease your sense of mind. Do it from a high quality source with people, with your friends who you trust, who you like, you know, have done it before, and just go for it. Yeah, but I don't think that. But when it comes to lower quality foods, like the cooking part, yeah, I mean, for me, I don't really think about it just because I eat like
you have done
regular store-bought quality things raw, and I'm fine.
Also, your brother has done it.
Yeah,
that's also, I think that's like powerful. Like we need a lot of like, this is like anecdotal experience. That's not a good way, because like what actually is happening in real life, that's like truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the truth is, you and your brother have eaten a lot of like low quality raw food,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
Yeah.
And you guys have been
Totally
fine.
good.
Also, I want to mention that like, when I go to Japan, they always say that their eggs can be eaten raw. Yeah, but I'm sure that those eggs, technically speaking, are of low quality. It's just that they control the cleanliness of the chicken's like living condition. But
Yeah.
when it comes to getting sunlight, having enough like outdoor space, or eating a good diet, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like apparently they sell it like, oh, you can eat that raw, and that's like their culture. So that's like maybe hundreds of thousands of people do that every day. Eat like low quality eggs, technically,
Yeah.
low quality eggs raw,
Yeah.
and they're fine. Yeah. So yeah, that was like maybe what I mainly want to talk about, just like eating low quality food raw, because that's like pretty controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like there was like another story. So when people talk about why people started to like pasteurize milk, they talk about like, oh, it's like in the past there were like many sick cows, so they produce like bad milk, and some infants that became dead off of drinking those milks.
Yeah.
So people maybe like notice that if you heat up the milk, it will be not too bad to the point that it will kill people. So they started to, instead of like improving the cow's living conditions, they started to like mask the problem by heating up the milk. So that's like another thing, in my opinion, why maybe eating low quality raw food wouldn't be super like a good idea. Yeah. But I guess it depends on like how low the quality is.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not like I'm here. I'm not gonna openly say like I want to encourage people to just be like, all right, eat the lowest quality meat raw. Like I don't want to encourage people to do that. I'm just saying I've done it and I'm fine.
Yeah,
and
that's very powerful.
But I don't want to encourage people to do that. Like like I want to encourage you to try it, but try it with the highest quality source, and you'll see for yourself that it's totally fine, and you can just do what you want from there. But I just want to say, in my experience, I usually do this and it's fine. But I do acknowledge for a fact, like for 100%, that it is possible to get sick. I just take that calculated risk all the time.
Okay.
And I've been doing that for a year.
But you are still going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. But so I guess it's like you kind of think you are going to get sick, but you
not really.
You don't really.
I don't think I'm going to get sick.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess what's the take-home message? I guess it's like, so the truth is, people have eaten low-quality raw food before, and they have been fine. And there are like some reports talking about how people have eaten raw food and got sick. So both sides have pretty decent evidence.
Yeah.
And people just need to be aware of that.
But yeah, it's also what you look for too. Because if you search online, it's like, okay, like I'll prove it to you. Like people are getting sick because of raw pork. Like if you search in any food sickness, you're gonna find a story of someone getting sick off that food.
Oh, you know? Yeah, that's true.
And also,
like salad, like
yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, like raw pork, like horror stories. Like yeah, and not to say that those haven't happened. Like for sure those have happened, but you'll also find an equal amount of people saying, you know, I am eating raw pork, it's all good. Maybe not an equal amount, but you'll find people with find stories about that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like 100%. Totally. You just get what you find. You just get what you find what you look for. Yeah.
Also, another thing about like getting sick off of eating raw food, I think maybe sometimes it's like the medical community's fault. Like for example, maybe I eat raw pork and then I have diarrhea for some reason. Let's not care about why that happens, but I have some diarrhea and I'm afraid because maybe I'm conditioned to be afraid of raw pork, and I get diarrhea and I'm very like nervous, so I go to see a doctor, and they could probably give me some weird medicines and shit, and then I become sicker. Yeah, but I think it's because of the raw pork.
Yeah.
I think that can also be like, and then the news reporter will say, oh, he becomes super sick because of the meat itself. Like they don't talk about the problems with medications.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like when reading stories, we really need to figure out what causes what. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's too people make too fast assumptions on what the actual causation is and something.
Yeah, exactly. But like if you see that people have eaten raw meat and they have been fine, then that's just the truth. That's just like something that's true.
Yeah, for them. Yeah, it's just like they've lived it. It's true for it's literally a fact. They're fine.
They can be fine off of eating raw meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One experience actually. I want to share this. I took raw meat I went to Mujima Island on Monday, and I spent the entire day there. It was super hot, 90 degrees, super humid, and I had raw meat in my bag the entire day, and it was definitely left out for like 12 hours probably almost. Nice. And that's also like a 10 eggs were in my backpack too, and it was super super hot. I ended up throwing the meat away because I just looked at it and it was like, I don't actually want to do that because it looked disgusting and it was.
They looked disgusting.
It looked actually really gross.
Oh.
So I just tossed it actually.
Nice.
But I kept the eggs and I ate them.
Oh.
But
so the meat like was off.
The meat I just didn't want to like. Okay. It didn't even look like, good.
Okay.
Like, it generally didn't look good, and I was like, all right, I'm fine. So that's one instance where I've looked at raw meat and I'm just like, yeah, I don't really feel like it.
So I guess you are saying that your body kind of knows.
But yeah, maybe I didn't taste it. But I mean,
that's like also your body's way to tell you.
Yeah, just by I looked at it and it was just really gross, and I mean, it was super super hot. Like that never happens to no raw meat I usually ever eat is in that hot condition for that long. I don't know if what I've eaten had been fine. I don't know, but I was just like, I don't really want to find out. I'm just gonna toss it.
Oh, sure.
So.
Okay.
Like I still have standards for raw meat. I'm not going to eat something that's like literally looking super unappetizing. You know?
Okay.
So there's that.
So I guess the conclusion for today is, if you can, go for higher quality food, but just know that lower quality food can be okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I mean, I think
and listen to your body.
Listen to your body for sure, and I mean, this is obviously eating raw food is a paradigm shift. And it can be crazy to do this. Crazy, considered crazy by the societal norm. But I feel like once you experience it, you're that much closer to realizing different truths. Because once you actually eat raw beef and raw food, you kind of escape the food matrix, in my opinion. Like you escape the norm of what has to be done, what everybody should do because of this reason. You know, you escape, you see what's possible, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, I can almost guarantee that everybody watching this, if they do try raw meat in the way that I recommended, of having a high quality source, then you're going to be totally fine, and you're going to realize that it's actually possible for you to eat these foods, and that's really powerful in itself. So I think that opens up your mind a lot. And, that can start a snowball effect for opening up your mind for a lot of other things as well. And one thing I want to make sure people take away from this episode is something I already said is don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I mean, you can definitely still feel great off of these lower quality versions of meat. You can definitely still feel good. And that's still an amazing option in comparison to junk food and all this crap that, maybe people are going to be mostly watching from Taiwan, but it's really the same in every place in the world that all these companies are making millions and millions and billions of dollars off, making us sick, by giving us crap food to eat. So, maybe grass-fed, grass-finished beef, pasture-raised pork, and amazing quality eggs and completely raw milk are not financially, making sense for you right now. That's totally fine. there are way cheaper options, and they're still going to feel great off of it. So the one thing is, don't let the perfect meal enemy be good, and actually experience it for yourself before you say anything about it. Because if you actually don't experience it, then you shouldn't really be talking about it.
Okay. I kind of want to ask one more question.
Sure.
So like, do you let people know like you have this kind of lifestyle? I mean, like eating raw food.
I wouldn't say I'm super vocal that I'm eating raw food. It's not like it's not like I'm shouting to the heavens like, yes, I ate raw food. But if people ask me about it, for sure, I'm like, yeah.
You'll be open about it.
100%. Like
Okay.
I never deny it.
Have you gotten some like negative reactions?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's always like weird reactions. I mean, just the other day, like the Kadam Championships. I think someone asked me if I've eaten raw beef before, which I like laughed because it's just so common. But then they asked me if I ate raw pork, and I was like, yeah, I had like a kilo of it, or I had like a half a kilo of it this morning. And they were like, wow, dude, you're absolutely crazy.
Oh, really?
You're absolutely crazy, dude. Yeah.
That's a pretty deep question. I wonder why that person wanted to ask that.
Yeah, we were talking about just eating because this person was talking about bulking and food.
Oh.
This person, was also mostly just eating chicken breasts, and I was like, well, you can definitely. I was just like, oh yeah, well, you can definitely get these other foods. It'll probably taste better and actually be more enjoyable to eat. And then he asked me if I had ever eaten raw pork, and I was like, yeah, I ate a half a kilo this morning or yesterday.
Okay. But obviously you'll just keep doing like what works for you, I guess.
Exactly. Like right now, I mean, I enjoy raw meat, but I'm not gonna say like I enjoy raw meat. I can see myself eating it for the foreseeable future. Will my mind change in a couple of years? Maybe an experience will make me realize like, oh, I actually don't want to do this anymore. Or maybe I will want to continue to do this in 5 years. I don't really know, but for now, I can say that right now I feel good about it.
Like so, for now, like you don't dislike the taste. It can even be tasty. Definitely. And it's like pretty convenient.
It's super good. It's like the most convenient way to eat.
Do you think like raw meat is like tougher to chew? No. Compared to cooked ones.
Depends.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, if you eat ground beef raw, I mean, it's obviously gonna be super easy to eat. It depends on the type it's cut for like beef, for example.
Okay, I see.
But
you probably wouldn't want to eat like a chicken wing raw.
No, I'd say in general it's probably easier to eat cooked. But overall, it's still nice to eat like any meat, but in general it's still nice to eat raw meat. But like for example, like I've eaten raw skirt steak before, and that actually is like really difficult. It takes forever to chew. And then you build your jawline, so that's fine.
That's true. Okay.
I don't know much about that, but I just said that.
so like how do you like decide if you want to cook this thing or not? How do you decide if you have some food in front of you? How do you decide if you want to cook it or not? Or just like depends on your feeling.
Yeah, it depends on my feeling.
Like if you are feeling like eating something, you just eat.
Yeah.
And then if you want the taste. Yeah.
For example, I mean, I usually always cook my food just a little bit. I usually do. But what I mean by that is I'll always cook my food, but I always also just eat the raw version before I actually start cooking it. Like if I heat out the pan, I'm gonna start eating it already.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've done that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. I've done that. I do it every single day back in the United States with my ground beef. I always cook ground beef patties, but I just end up eating it raw anyways before the pan gets hot.
Yeah, it
raw
makes
steak.
sense.
Yeah, for raw steak, if I cook it up, when I see an amazing piece, like amazing fat on it, I'm definitely gonna eat that. It's easy to just break in. Yeah, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait to do anything. You just eat it right off the bat. It's the fastest way to eat. So
it probably feels good, right?
Yeah, the digestion
should be like not restricted,
right? By
some unexist stuff. People are being afraid of something that like that's not maybe not really needed to be afraid of.
Yeah.
But you don't need to. You can make more complete decisions.
Yeah. And I understand why, and I don't really blame people for being afraid. I mean, it's literally the messaging that we're taught from really young. It's like it takes effort and curiosity and experience. Maybe whether it be a conversation or a health scare you have, maybe to want to actually consider this stuff. I don't really blame people for
Yeah.
For being afraid. People are usually afraid of stuff they aren't, or wary about stuff they don't understand. But when you take the actual leaps to try and understand it and then experience it for yourself, that's when the actual changes happen.
I think it's okay that people are afraid, but like, how do I say that? If they're saying that, oh, you shouldn't do this because it's dangerous, blah, 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 I think that's not okay. Because like, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, because apparently many people have done it, they have been fine. And maybe you have heard some information that makes you feel the way you do, but like, you can't ignore what's in front of you.
Yeah.
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 So,
exactly.
I think, yeah, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
what will happen to Zack.
Yeah. And you.
Yeah, and me. Yeah, for me, I'll also, I'll probably like experiment with like lower quality pork.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, for me, it's like more scary.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it tomorrow.
I mean, we can do that. I can do that with you. I think I'll have more courage. Yeah. And yeah, it's really convenient.
Super good.
Like this morning, I was feeling hungry, and then I just slunk like 3 eggs, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's like a life hack. I feel like.
It's super convenient. Yeah.
Because like take this afternoon, for example. Like this afternoon, we went to like a restaurant to eat.
Yeah.
It took so long.
Yeah.
We go to the restaurant. We like grab a lot of different kinds of food, and then we eat, and then we go back, and it's like the whole afternoon is gone.
3.5 hours later.
Yeah. But if I just slung 10 eggs,
that's
good. Like maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can go. Yeah, so I think eggs are definitely like a very nice food to eat raw. Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty much it.
Good conversation.
Yeah, okay. I hope the information was helpful. We were like jumping from here and there. Yeah, but I think I brought out some interesting topics to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hope that, because I feel like not many people talk about eating low quality raw food. It's often like neglected. I feel like people just talk about, oh, you need to eat high quality food, but they don't talk about eating low quality food. Yeah, so I guess the conclusion is that, eating low quality food is like not the most ideal, but you should be safe. You should be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see. Okay. That's it. Oh, how long did we talk for?
Maybe a little under an hour.
Yeah, around